Hi, Sandra. How are you? Oh, Alicia, what's up, sis? I hope you was paying attention last night. You ready? You ready? Oh man, commercial real estate, because that's what it's looking like for you. Commercial real estate, okay. Just gonna give it a few minutes and get some people some time to come on. It's alright, you can't hide from me, so it's fine. I love it. Come on in, people. Oh man. I appreciate everybody that's logged in already. Like I said, I'm just going to give it a few minutes and give everybody else some time to come on. Hey, what's going on, Mitchell? How are you? I appreciate everybody that's already logged in. I took the time out to just be with me today. So I'm going to give it a few minutes to let some more people come on in. Hey, Jason. I hope everybody's having a good Saturday so far. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Bless you. Aw, you leaving me. Enjoy that. Have a good session, girl. Oh, man. So I don't know if you guys, so for any of you guys that were locked in last week, I just want to thank everybody for sharing my. I just want to thank. Hey, my sister's on here. Hi, Talia. I see you. I just want to, definitely thank everybody that locked in with me the last time. Everyone that shared my video. It was great. I'm excited about it. There was a lot of shares, a lot of views, more than I expected there to be. So I'm just super excited for everybody that's, opening up to receive the information, everyone that it's helped. I've had a few inboxes and a few questions, and I'm just, excited to be in a position to help you guys out. Last week, like I was saying, we spoke about a few things. We spoke about, matter of fact, before I even get into that, I just want to share something with you guys, because, before anything, I always got to, speak to my people and be encouraging. Something that's just been on my spirit for the past couple of weeks. I just wanted to, encourage you guys and, speak about habits. it's really been in my spirit. You know, there are good habits and there are bad habits. And, you know, right now in this moment that we're moving, that you're trying to move forward at anything that you're trying to attain or anything that you're trying to do or succeed at, give place to allow yourself to change things that do not encourage or don't benefit where it is that you're going in your situation. Oftentimes, you know, you'll feel a push in the middle of it. You'll feel a bit of a frustration. And when you feel that frustration, don't shy away from it. That frustration is you know, being stretched into the further of where it is that you're trying to go. So, you know, I just say when you feel that, you know, don't be afraid to go against your grain. Don't be afraid to go against the grain of yourself, to do things that are outside of your norm. You know, whatever it was that you were doing 5 days ago, 5 weeks ago, 5 years ago, it's not going to work for where it is that you're going. So, you know, push more, push further, you know, and yeah, just don't be afraid to challenge yourself. Don't be afraid to challenge yourself. And, you know, if you know, my pastor says this all the time, if it's not sacrificial, it's not beneficial. So if you're not sacrificing something, it's not going to benefit you. So when you're moving in sacrifice, trust me, it's going to be beneficial to you. So, you know, like I said, don't be scared of, you know, anything that seems bigger than you. Don't be afraid of it. You know, like, trust me, it seems scary at first, but when you jump over that hurdle, when you actually do what it is that you were trying to stop yourself from doing, you realize that it wasn't that big of a deal. So, you know, just go ahead and do whatever it is that you feel that you need to do. Get yourself ready for it, change, shift, you know, accept challenges and, you know, just go forward. So today I'm not going to try to keep you guys long. Last week, I think we were on here for like 45 minutes, close to an hour. And in my last video, hi, Robert, I hope everything is, I appreciate you so much. I hope everything is going good, you know, with your house. I know you're having a bunch of barbecues back there, at least in the summertime, at least. But, I appreciate you. And, you know, thank you for your commentary. I appreciate it. So last week we were talking about qualify before you apply, and we were discussing certain things that you should consider before actually considering going forth and actually taking action in looking to purchase your home. So with that being said, we touched on debt to income ratio. We touched on credit. We touched on, you know, salary. We touched on work history, lack of work history, and, you know, where it is that you need to be somewhat financially in order for it to make sense for you. We talked about, you know, a few different types of loans. We didn't go too much in depth with everything. Like I said, in the sessions that we're going to be doing, I'm just going to keep expanding the more and more that I do go along with it. So today, outside of what we spoke about last week, this week I'm going to talk about your what now. Your what now is after you've basically considered the things that you were supposed to consider before you go ahead and say, I want to take action. Now we're going to talk about what you do when you are ready to take action. So first and foremost, one of the main things that you should be doing before you go ahead and move forward is research. Research covers a few things. One of the main things I would tell you is to look into your location. Think about where it is that you obviously want to live. Don't leave it up to anybody else. Do your own research. Go online, speak to people. You know, think about school district. You know, think about transportation, whether or not you drive, whether you don't drive, you know, or whether you drive, but you want to take the train to work. You know, if it's something that you need close to transportation, or you want to be in a quiet area, you know, somewhere, in the suburbs out in, you know, where it's not too loud. Or if you like the city life and you want to, you know, be somewhere where there's a lot of traffic, you know, that's good too. So consider where it is that you want to be. I would probably tell you, consider your top 3 locations. Don't say, listen, I want to live in upstate New York. I think I want to live in Brooklyn, and I think I want to live in Queens. It doesn't make any sense. That's too widespread, and it's too open. So I would tell you to narrow down, where it is that you want to be. If you say that you want to live in Queens, you consider, if you're considering if you're considering Queens, you're thinking about St. Albans, I'm thinking about Rosedale, I'm thinking about Laurelton, or I'm thinking about Richmond Hill, South Ozone, just different areas within that town. If you're thinking about Brooklyn, Flatbush, Canarsie, just think about certain areas within that borough that you want to be in, or even if you're moving out of state, hey, that's fine, but, just narrow it down. Then I would tell you, consider your taxes. Because a lot of people, I speak to clients a lot of the time, and, we'll be on the phone and, they're considering moving somewhere. And then when they get the price of, their end price of what their mortgage payment is going to be, they're surprised that, or they speak to their realtor, the location, they find out the taxes are like $12,000, $13,000, $15,000. You do the math. That's an extra $2,000 on, on top of your mortgage payment. So, considering the taxes on where you want to be are extremely important. Definitely consider that. And your budget. What it is that you are comfortable paying. A lot of people don't consider that. They think about the bottom line, and they think about the principal amount on what they're going to be paying on their home. And, that's great. But if you really think about it, your mortgage payment is honestly broken down into monthly payments. And really, you don't consider the long haul of everything. What really touches you is those monthly payments that you're making. So consider what you're comfortable paying every month. Within your budget, what should be considered is the principal amount of your mortgage, your interest, your taxes, as well as your insurance. So those are 4 things that you need to think about: your principal, your interest, your taxes, as well as your insurance, when you're thinking about how much you feel as though you should be paying monthly. And please consider that, if rentals right now, if rentals are, $1,300, $1,500, I just save yourself, and don't think that you're going to be speaking to a lender and you're going to call a lender and they're going to tell you that your mortgage payment is going to be $1,500, because it's probably not. So I'm just going to help you out, because if you think about it, realistically speaking, if a rental is what it is, 9 times out of 10, your mortgage payment is going to be slightly a little bit more. And, it's nowadays, honestly, rental is kind of the same as mortgages. If you really think about it, give or take a few $100s. But to be honest with you, at this point, if you're paying, because I've spoken to people often and they're paying like $2,100 in rent. I'm going to let that sink in for a second. $2,100 in rent. That's a mortgage payment. So for me, or for anyone else that it makes sense for, why am I paying $2,100 to rent or to give my money to someone else, and I could be owning my own property and investing in myself and investing in my future and my family? So like I said, if you're able to do it, consider, where you're able to be monthly in terms of your budget. Now, the next step after that is probably the most important, most crucial part of this entire process. And the most crucial thing before actually going ahead and making your move, and that is getting pre-approved. Pre-approved, not pre-qualified. They are 2 different things. A pre-qualification, it's a major difference. A pre-qualification is honestly just a preliminary conversation that you will have with a lender. And you're basically, letting them know how much money you make. You're basically just having a conversation, and there's no validity behind the things that you're telling them. And so they're going to give you a guesstimate based on what it is that you can afford. Just like we often get those envelopes in the mail and, hey, you got financing, for whatever amount for this car, and you're all super excited, and you go ahead and you take the letter to the car dealership and no, you find out that you're not approved. because they went ahead and they ran your credit and they took a look at, you know, your income and you know, stuff like that. And they found out the real about your finances. So with that being said, that's pretty much the best way to explain pre-qualification versus a pre-approval. A pre-qualification really has no, it has no substance. It has no standing whatsoever. It's really just a guesstimate to say that, hey, you probably can get this. Now, a pre-approval is when they actually do take a look at your documentation, when they run your credit, when they run your credit, you fill out a mortgage application and they take a look at your documentation, and there is validation behind all of the questions that they've asked and the conversation that you're having with your lender. So what they will request from you is your W-2s, your past 2 years of W-2s, your taxes, your pay stubs, and bank statements. They're all validation based on the few questions that they're going to ask you, like we spoke in the last video, questioning your income, obviously, what it is that you make. And, you know, of course, your taxes and your W-2s are there to validate and confirm that you're telling the truth. And your bank statements, obviously, to check your assets. They want to know that you have money in the bank. You know, it's not really a best look when you're looking to go ahead and get a home and you have $0 in the bank. That doesn't look good. So, of course, they're going to check your bank statements and see what assets you have and make sure that there's some, you know, some collateral there. And so after that, a lot of people tend to ask, you know, why do they need to get pre-approved? The main thing with that is, and it makes, you know, a lot of sense, and a lot of people think that they can just bypass it and say, hey, you know, I want to go ahead and I want to look for a home. You're going to go pick up the phone and you call a realtor, and you're going to go ahead and you're going to go out and you're going to look for homes. You've been circling for about a month or 2 or 3 or 4, however long it takes you to look for a home, and you're out looking for your home, and you go ahead and you find a perfect place. You find a perfect place, and now you go ahead and say, all right, cool, I'm ready to get my financing. So now you speak to your lender and you go and you put in your information. Number one, it's a seller's market, and homes are moving super quick. From the moment that you, matter of fact, from the moment that you even walk into that door, the minute that you even speak to, or your realtor speaks to the listing agent, or whatever the case may be, there's always action. There's always movement on a home. So just because, you know, you don't physically see something doesn't mean that it's not happening. So even from, you know, your first initial phone call, there's already like 20 or 30 people that, you know, probably put in an offer in that home already. So your best bet is to go into the situation already prepared, you know, to go in with what it is that you need. This is what we're talking about. We're talking about being armed. So now when you're going into a situation, why not just have your pre-approval already ready? When you see the home that you love, go ahead and say, listen, I'm ready to put in this offer. I'm ready to get this house now. You're already 10 steps ahead of the game, and, you know, your financing is already in order, and that is going to make you look exceptional to the listing agent as well as the seller. So that kind of, you know, gives you a little bit of backing, it gives you a little bit of cushioning, and makes you look a lot better. Now, outside of that, you know, like I mentioned in the last video, who's going to want to go ahead and find their home, their lovely home that they fell in love with, and now you're all, you know, super excited about it, and you're looking to move in, and next thing you know, you go ahead to get pre-approved, and you find out that you cannot afford the house that you fell in love with. That sucks. Who wants to go through that? That's disheartening. So get pre-approved. Go ahead and speak to a lender, find out what it is that you can afford. Actually, excuse me, let me backtrack. The reason that you're getting pre-approved is, of course, so you can find out what it is that you're able to borrow from the bank, how much you're able to borrow from the bank. You know, people can, you can assume whatever it is that you want to assume. You know, people think they make this amount, and hey, I make, you know, $60,000, $70,000 a year. I can buy whatever I want. And then you go ahead and you find out, because you are $5,000 in debt, you know, you can't afford what it is that you think you can afford. It happens all the time, you know, so don't just, you know, operate and start looking and waste your time looking for something off of an assumption. Don't waste your time. Don't waste the realtor's time. You know, it doesn't make any sense. You know, why not just go ahead and be sure about what it is that you're going ahead to do? So outside of that, getting pre-approved. You can either go directly to a lender, or you can go to a realtor first. Either or, you know, your realtor, they usually have referrals, and I would probably tell you that the best thing to do is, a lot of the time, at least in my opinion, it's best to speak to a realtor if you want to go ahead and have them refer you to a lender, or go to a lender and the lender is going to refer you to a realtor. Either way, you know, it's best going by word of mouth, or even if you have, you know, friends and family that went through the process and they felt as if they dealt with someone that was good. When you're dealing with a lender, you know, just make sure that it's someone that is, you know, willing to sit down with you, willing to meet you face to face, willing to explain to you everything it is that you don't know. You know, this is not, you're not buying a shirt, you're not buying a pair of shoes, you know what I mean? Let alone, you're not buying a car. You know, this is a 30-year purchase. This is something that, you know, this is where you live. This is your home. This is where you're going to, you know, grow your family in. It's an important investment. It's something that, you know, you should be adamant about and really passionate about. So don't, you know, people sitting here and I get it all the time. And, I speak to them like, oh, well, you know, oh, you were pre-approved. Who you pre-approved by? And I don't, excuse me, no shots, but, you know, I was pre-approved by Quicken Loans. And, you know, Quicken Loans is an online service. And I mean, that's great. If you feel comfortable doing that, then that's wonderful. But I'm sorry, if I'm buying my house, I'm going to want to look my lender in the face. I'm going to want to look my loan officer in the face, be able to call you at any given moment if I have questions, anything like that. I'm not comfortable, you know, doing something online. So, you know, at the end of the day, like I said, make sure that you vet your people. Vet your people. It's okay if you meet a lender and you're not comfortable with that person. Don't feel like you're obligated to remain with them, because you're not. You know, synergy matters. You know, your transaction should not be the business. You know what I mean? You shouldn't be the business. Your experience shouldn't be the business. The transaction should be the business. So when you're going into it, you know, don't allow yourself to feel as if you are locked into a situation, because you are not. So in the beginning stages of it, fill your lender out, fill your loan officer out, fill your realtor out, ask them questions, you know, make sure that they are, that they're listening to your wants, they're listening to your needs, they're answering all of your questions. And, you know, again, make sure that there's good synergy there, and that it you know, hopefully they know what they're talking about. You know, there may not be a good way for you to check that they know what they're talking about, but you know, you should be able to tell by their level of confidence, and, you know, fact check everything. If they're telling you something, you know, see if you have a second source. And if they tell you something, go look it up online just to be sure. You know, it's always good. So outside of that, as we are speaking about lenders and realtors, the next step after getting pre-approved is finding a realtor. Now, a lot of times, often people do ask me, you know, what is it that realtors do? First and foremost, there are two different realtors. There are seller's agents and there are buyer's agents. When you're looking to buy a home, your buyer's agent is the one that works in your interest. The seller's agent works solely in the interest of the seller. So when you want to go ahead and you choose to go and do a transaction on your own, it's basically like you going into a courtroom defending yourself. That's basically, you know, the best way to, you know, explain it. So when you are, you know, looking to purchase a home, get yourself a buyer's agent. A lot of people feel like, you know, well, I don't need them. What is it that they do? They do a lot. And to be honest with you, a lot of the times they do a lot of work for free, simply because people are not really loyal, you know, to the agents that they deal with these days, just because, you know, technology has been, you know, so advanced. There is a lot of information that is afforded to the public right now. And, you know, that's great. You know, it allows you to be able to do some research, but still at the same time, unless you're a realtor, you know, remember that it is a profession. This is what they know. This is what they've done. This is what they've had experience in. You've never had experience buying a home before. You know, so I wouldn't tell anyone, hey, if you've never bought a home, go ahead for the first time and go buy a home by yourself. You know, and the best part about it that people don't know, listen, your buyer's agent is free. You as a buyer don't pay the buyer agent's commission. The seller does. It's very, very, very rare that the seller has to pay it, but the buyer's agent will let you know. Sometimes it's a case by case scenario where the seller may not be willing, or it could be a for sale by owner, and they may not be willing to pay the buyer's agent, and then that'll be something that can be negotiated between you and your buyer's agent. And I'm pretty sure after they do all that work, you'll be inclined to give them your commission. But yeah, your realtor is there to really, like I said, negotiate on your behalf, make sure that everything is being done legally, everything is being done according to the way that it's supposed to, based on guidelines, you know, from the Department of State, and, you know, that you're not being duped. That you are taken care of, and everything that is being done is in your interest, especially down to the negotiations, that you are not being taken advantage of, that you are not paying, you know, way more for a property than you should, because you don't know. And I'm sure if you do, listen, that's great. But there's market value. You know, there's research that needs to be done on the house that was sold down the block, the house that was sold to the left of you, the house that was sold to the right of you, the house that was sold down the block. You know, that's vital information. You know, based on how many rooms are in the house, you know, the state of the home that you're in. A lot of people seek to, you know, sell their homes and think that they don't got to put $1 into their house, and it's super outdated and it's run down, and they're putting it on the market for top dollar, you know, and there's a bunch of stuff wrong with it. You know, there's certain things that you need to, that your agent will know that you don't know. You know, they should be walking you through your inspection. They should be, you know, speaking you through your appraisal and everything, and explaining these things to you because it's important, you know. So, you know, again, and also your realtor is the one that should be, you know, helping you look for your property. Agents do have access to a lot of other realtors. They do have access to listings and things that you as a civilian, you know, as a regular person, you don't have access to that stuff. So it is good to be able to have that information afforded to you through a realtor. You know, so don't knock utilizing one. Like I said, they're free. The seller pays for it. Utilize it. And, you know, it's good to listen. And not for nothing, but dealing with 10 different realtors, it gets hectic. So if you like the one that you're dealing with, lock them down. And I'm pretty sure that they're going to do an amazing job for you. They're going to do what it is that they need to do to make sure that they're getting you the home that you're looking for. Don't be afraid to express your needs. Don't be afraid to express your wants. But at the same time, don't think they shouldn't always be telling you yes. If you're speaking to them and their answer to you is constantly a yes, there's something wrong. Because that's not the world that we live in. You know, there's gonna be a push and there's gonna be a pull, but you know, a lot of the time, be flexible in the situation. Yeah, be flexible. Allow them to be able to, you know, let you know what it is that you don't know. That's why they're the professional. Let's see. And after that is your property search. So after, you know, picking out your realtor, and like I stated before, you can look for a realtor on your own, or listen, your lender will refer you to one, or, you know, vice versa. Like I said, usually word of mouth is the best. You know, so you could always try that, and also, you know, go online. Again, Google got everything for you. Or, you know, you can contact me, inbox me. But outside of that, the next step after that is going to be your home search. So after you get pre-approved, the first step, after you take a look at, you know, location, taxes, you consider your budget and things like that, you go ahead and you go and get your pre-approval. Now your pre-approval is in hand, you're ready to rock. You know, you contact your realtor, you come to your realtor and say, hey, listen, I've been pre-approved for $450,000, $500,000, $600,000, whatever it may be. I'm ready to look for my home. Now, the realtor is going to go ahead. They are going to look for some listings for you. Look for some listings to you, send it into your inbox, you know, figure out when it is that you want to go look at these homes, and now you're out looking. In terms of the property search, I would definitely tell you to create availability for yourself. It becomes a headache when you are sitting there and trying to figure out it's a headache for the agent to figure out when you're available. You know, we're all busy. You know, a lot of people have kids. You know, you guys have 9 to 5s. You know, it's the worst thing to say, hey, this property is available. I can only see it next week. you got to move quick. So figure out between, you know, if it's two people, which one of you, if one of you is not available, let the other one go. And, you know, like I said, let your agent know that the best time for you to see properties. Just say, listen, I know that for the next month, we're going to be looking at homes. For the next 2 months, we're going to be looking at homes. Carve out a set time for you to be able to look at properties. Tell your agent, listen, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, or, you know, evenings, this is my best. Just make the appointment so there doesn't have to be, you know, a continuous back and forth between the agent, the listing agent, and you. So that right there is, I think, is something valuable, because, you know, a lot of time is spent going back and forth trying to figure out who's available and when, and, you know, a lot is lost in between that gap right there. And after that, keep an open mind. Oftentimes when you're looking at properties, like I was mentioning before, a lot of sellers don't have it in them to necessarily want to go ahead and put any money into fixing up their home. Sometimes it'll be sold as is. Sometimes it'll be sold, you know, desolate. There's nothing in the house. So I tell you, when you go into places, be open-minded, especially if you see something that's a little bit under the value that it's supposed to be. And if you're negotiating something, you know, when you go into a place, just look at it. Be a visionary when you go in there. You know, think about how your living room might look. Think about how the bedroom might look. If it's not open canvas, I love that. And I think every person should want to love that because it's your space, you know, create it to be yours. So when you walk into somewhere, you know, think about how your living room is going to look. Think about how your bedroom is going to look, in your kitchen and stuff like that. And don't feel that, oh, this is not my house just because you walk into it and it doesn't look like how you want it to look. You know, so don't shy away from that. Allow yourself to, you know, consider the could be, you know, what it can look like. And outside of that, I think next, be flexible. Be flexible. When you are speaking to your agent, like I said, they are not going to be they're not going to be yes men. You know, there's a lot of things that we want, a lot of needs that we have, but they're not always going to be met. You know, unless you're building your house from ground up, unless you're building your apartment from ground up, you know, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to find every single thing on your checklist. It's pretty much impossible. So you have to be a little bit, you got to be a little flex and say, hey, listen, I got, you know, 3 out of the 5 things that I wanted. This is all right. You know, but if you're sitting there and you are adamant about getting every single thing on your list, you're going to be one of those people that are going to be looking for like 2 or 3 years. And, you know, I come across them all the time, and that's not really something that you want to do. So like I said, be flexible, and be open-minded. And, pretty much, you know, in terms of taking your steps, that's it. Go ahead, do your research, get pre-approved, get yourself a realtor, get yourself a lender, and go out and go look for your home. And that's it. So like I said, I didn't want to keep you guys long. It was just a quick fact check, just a few tips to, you know, help and, you know, guide you guys in getting into your next step. And, you know, like I said, these videos are going to keep coming. They're going to be getting a little bit more in depth on, you know, specific subject matters, but mainly look out for the seminar that is going to be happening in May. And the seminar that is going to be taking place is going to be a super deep dive into everything it is that we are discussing. So like, I'm just going to continue to mention, we are going to, you know, speak in depth about what a conventional loan is, what an FHA loan is, VA loans, and what are the best situations for you and your family. We're going to talk about lenders. We're going to talk about, you know, bigger banks versus smaller banks. You know, what type of lender is best for your situation. You know, everyone tends to think that, you know, hey, just because, you know, it's a Chase Bank, or because it's a TD, you know, it's somewhat like it's a McDonald's, or it's because it's a Nike, just because you know of it doesn't necessarily mean that it's the best suit, the best fit, or the best situation for you. You know, don't overlook the smaller banks. So there's a lot of, you know, inner things to know when it comes to financing. We're going to be talking about, you know, underwriting, and we're going to be talking about, you know, processing and things like that, and stuff that you should know yourself before going into actually it's just all just getting you ready. But like I said, deep diving into a situation and the deep stuff that people don't really talk about for you to really go ahead and make yourself the perfect candidate to go ahead and get your home. You know, the best thing to do is, hey, when I'm ready to purchase and you're ready to put that file in, you don't want your home purchase to be a nightmare. It's the first time you're buying a home. You don't want it to be crazy. You know, you don't want it to be an experience that you not to say that you regret it, but you want it to be something that is celebratory. You want it to be something that is happy, you know, and the best way for you to do that is to set the proper expectations, know what it is that you're doing, arm yourself with the proper information so you can go ahead and do what it is that you need to do correctly and efficiently. And yeah, so like I said, look out for that seminar. We're going to be talking about so much stuff, you know, grants, income, taxes, man. It's gonna be a process, you know, but like I said, this is what I'm here for. I'm here to get you ready to purchase your first home, and I'm excited for everyone that, you know, continues to log in, that continues to support me, that continues to share my videos. You know, it's a wonderful experience, and I've already actually had several people inbox me that are already in transition right now. I think since the live video, I've gotten 2 people, you know, in the process of getting pre-approved, and they're going to be out looking for their properties real soon. And I'm going to be excited to, you know, have them on here to just speak about their experience so they could just tell you how flawless it was, because they knew what it was that they were doing and they weren't caught off guard. They weren't blindsided. They went into it knowing everything, and it was a great experience for them. So, you know, I'm excited for those people, and I'm excited for you guys and, you know, everyone else that logs in that's ready to do what it is that they have to do. You know, I hope that you are empowered. I hope that you're encouraged, and, you know, like I said, just go ahead and do what it is that you need to do to go ahead and own your own. You know, that's what it's about. You know, it's great paying rent, but listen, when you are ready, go ahead and do it. There's nothing better than putting your money into an investment. There's nothing better than, you know, putting your money into something that's going to give you your money back. All right. So, moving forward, you can follow me on IG, Trish M_INC. After that, you can email me at TrishRuttenberg@gmail.com. That's RUTENBERG, TrishRuttenberg@gmail.com. And like I said, the IG is Trish M_INC. I'm going to be releasing, you know, a lot of, you know, tips, a lot of, DIY stuff. Again, like I mentioned before, we're talking about spaces, you know, utilize, the most out of your space. So when you're getting into somewhere and you feel like, look, it's not big enough, like I said, don't shy away from it, because there's so many things out there that you can create and things that you can do. You know, so many places that you can go and shop that can turn your space into the perfect space for you. All right. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I love you all and bless you. Have a amazing Saturday, and I will be back. Listen, if you guys didn't catch it, because I see some of you guys are coming in late, you know, that's what live is here for. So you can, it'll be posted up in a second. You can just go back and, you know, rewatch it, leave your comments. Again, same thing. I'm going to be compiling some questions that everyone's been asking me, and I'll be doing a Q&A really soon. So if you have any questions about home buying, financing, whatever it is, drop it in my inbox, and I'll be more than happy to answer you guys. So like I said, with that being said, I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I'll be back on the 7th of April. All right. And look out for the seminar that I'll be doing in May. I appreciate you guys. Bless you, and have a dope Saturday. Later.